This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, students. I am explaining the concept of Rankin's active earth pressure theory. We are in Unit 3 in Foundation Engineering. In that Unit 3, earth retaining structures, we started the Rankin's active earth pressure theory. In the previous classes, in that Rankin's active earth pressure theory, I explained the Rankin's active earth pressure equation by using Morse stress circles. In the Rankin's active earth pressure theory, we started the derivation for the active earth pressure, and I explained according to Rankin's active earth pressure theory, the active earth pressure acting on the retaining wall PA is equal to KA into sigma V, and that sigma V is the Rankin's coefficient, that vertical stress, and PA is the active earth pressure, and KA is the coefficient of the Rankin's active earth pressure. And in the last classes, we discussed the Rankin's active earth pressure theory when the backfill is in dry condition, that in the uniform soil and also non-uniform soil we discussed. And also in the last class, we discussed the effect of water table on the Rankin's active earth pressures. Last class, we discussed that effect of water table in the Rankin's active earth pressures. Now, in the today's class, we are going to discuss the Rankin's active earth pressure when the backfill is subjected to surcharge. So, in the today's class, I am going to explain the Rankin's active earth pressure theory when the backfill is dry, cohesionless soil, and the backfill is subjected to the uniform surcharge. First, understand what is meant by surcharge acting on the backfill. First, try to understand the surcharge. Surcharge is the uniform pressure. So, check the diagram. First diagram, please. Here, the backfill is supporting the retaining wall is supporting the backfill. H is the height of the retaining wall. In all the previous discussions, there is no external stress or the external load acting on the backfill. Please remember, in all the previous conditions, the backfill, at the top of the backfill, there is no external stress acting on the backfill. But here, we consider the external pressure acting on the backfill. This is called the surcharge acting on the backfill. The external stress or the external pressure. This external stress is either due to the construction of highway. Sometimes there is a highway constructed on the top of the backfill. That highway applies the external stress on the backfill. Sometimes it is due to the construction of railway line. If the railway track was constructed on the top of the backfill, that railway track also applies the external stress on the backfill, or due to construction of some other structure. So sometimes the backfill, that is behind the retaining wall, the backfill is subjected to the external stress, that is called the uniform surcharge acting on the backfill. In this discussion, we consider that intensity of the uniform stress, that is called surcharge acting on the backfill as Q per unit area, small q. Now we are going to discuss what is the effect of this external stress, that is surcharge acting on the backfill in the active earth pressures developing in the backfill. We know that inside the backfill, if the retaining wall is in active condition, inside the backfill, the active earth pressure is acting on the backfill. Because of this surcharge, what is the effect on that active earth pressure? That is, we are going to discuss in the today's class. It is a simple discussion. Number of times in the last classes, I explained you. Whenever we are calculating the earth pressure, horizontal earth pressure, either in the rest condition or in the active condition or in the passive condition, first find out the intensity of the vertical stress. So in this surcharge also, we are going to find out the external vertical stress acting on the backfill. So please everyone focus on the diagram first. Look at the surcharge and also the backfill behind the retaining wall. H is the height of the retaining wall. So please check the backfill. Please check the backfill. There is a external stress acting on the backfill. That is called the surcharge. Now we consider the soil element. Everyone please focus on the soil element. Everyone please focus on the soil element. Here inside the backfill at a depth Z, we consider the soil element. Now find out the vertical stress at this soil element, including the surcharge. By considering the surcharge, what is the intensity of surcharge? Q per unit area. By considering this surcharge, find out the vertical stress in the backfill at a depth Z from the top of the backfill. Consider the backfill is a dry, oceanless backfill of uniform weight gamma. Gamma is the uniform weight of the backfill. Now, at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, the intensity of the vertical stress sigma V is equal to Q, that is the surcharge. Q plus, due to this depth Z, the vertical stress in the backfill is gamma into Z. That is the vertical stress inside the backfill at a depth Z from the top of the backfill. Gamma is the unit weight, Z is the depth. So the total vertical stress here in the backfill, including the effect of the surcharge Q, is given by sigma V is equal to Q plus gamma into Z. That is the vertical stress, sigma V. So please everyone check that vertical stress sigma V inside the backfill at a depth Z from the top of the backfill when the backfill is subjected to this surcharge. So at this point, the vertical stress sigma V is equal to Q plus gamma into Z. That is the vertical stress. Now, according to Rankin's approach, Rankin's active earth pressure, according to Rankin's active earth pressure, the horizontal active earth pressure at this location, PA is equal to KA into sigma V. What is sigma V? Q plus gamma into Z. That is sigma V. So please everyone focus on that. So at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, because of the surcharge Q acting on the backfill, the total vertical stress sigma V is equal to Q plus gamma into Z. Then as per the Rankin's active earth pressure theory, at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, the horizontal active earth pressure PA is equal to KA into sigma V. What is sigma V? Q plus gamma Z. So the active earth pressure in the backfill at a depth Z from the top of the backfill at this location, PA is equal to KA into Q plus gamma Z. That is the equation for the active earth pressure. So check that active earth pressure magnitude first. So at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, the vertical stress sigma V is equal to gamma Z plus Q. Since the backfill is in dry condition, the pore water pressure is 0. You know that according to Terzaghis approach, when the pore water pressure U, small u is 0, the effective vertical stress is equal to total vertical stress sigma V. Since here the backfill is in dry condition, the pore water pressure U is 0. Once that pore water pressure is 0, in this condition, the effective vertical stress sigma V dash is equal to the total vertical stress sigma V. Effective vertical stress sigma V dash is equal to total vertical stress sigma V, that is equal to gamma Z plus Q. Then according to Rankin's active earth pressure theory, the active earth pressure at a depth z from the top of the backfill is given by Ka into sigma v dash, that is Ka into gamma z plus q. Check this equation please. The active earth pressure at the depth z from the top of the backfill, Ka into gamma z plus q. In this equation, if z is equal to 0, that is at the top of the backfill. From this equation 3, if z is equal to 0, the active earth pressure Pa at the top of the backfill, the depth z is 0. So when the depth z is 0, the active earth pressure Pa is equal to, according to this equation, Ka into Q. At the top of the backfill, z is 0. If z is 0, the active earth pressure Pa is equal to Ka into gamma into 0 plus Q, that is Ka into Q. Whereas at the bottom of the retaining wall, z is equal to h. So at the bottom of the retaining wall, the active earth pressure Pa is equal to Ka into gamma into h plus Q. That is the active earth pressure when the backfill is subjected to the uniform surcharge Q per unit area. That is this diagram. So check the earth pressure distribution in the diagram. Active earth pressure distribution at the top of the backfill. This is at the top of the backfill. Z is equal to 0. When Z is equal to 0, the active earth pressure Pa is equal to Ka into Q. And at the bottom of the retaining wall, where Z is equal to H, the active earth pressure at Z is equal to H is Ka into Q plus Ka into gamma into H. This is the distribution of the active earth pressure in the backfill due to the effect of surcharge load acting on the backfill. Then find out the area of this pressure distribution diagram. The area of this pressure distribution diagram, at the top, the active earth pressure is Ka into Q. Whereas at the bottom, the active earth pressure is Ka into Q plus Ka into gamma into Z, gamma into H. So find out the area of this pressure distribution diagram. It is trapezium. So find out that pressure distribution diagram area. That area gives the total active earth pressure force acting on the retaining wall because of the surcharge Q acting on the retaining wall, acting on the backfill. So this is the Rankin's active earth pressure theory when the backfill is subjected to the uniform surcharge. So please everyone go through this diagram. In the next diagram, I converted this top earth pressure magnitude. What is this top earth pressure magnitude? Ka into Q. At the top, the earth pressure magnitude is Ka into Q. I converted this top earth pressure magnitude into equivalent height of the backfill. Consider this height of the backfill. Height of the backfill is He. Height of this backfill is He. Then at this location, because of this equivalent height of the backfill He, at this location, the earth pressure magnitude is at this location. First, the vertical stress is gamma into He. That is the vertical stress at this location. Here I am converting this top horizontal earth pressure. At the top, the horizontal earth pressure is Ka into Q. I am converting this top horizontal earth pressure into equivalent height of the backfill He. If there is a height of the backfill He, because of this height He of the backfill, the vertical stress at this location is gamma into He. Then the active earth pressure at this location is Ka into gamma into He, that Ka into gamma into He is equal to Ka into Q. Then from that you will get this height He is equal to Q by gamma. So this is called the equivalent height of the backfill behind the retaining wall, which produces the same magnitude of horizontal earth pressure at this top, that is Ka into Q. Further, the height He is equal to Q by gamma. So this is the effect of uniform surcharge on the backfill according to Rankin's active earth pressure theory. So sometimes the backfill subjected to uniform external stress on the top, that is called the surcharge acting on the backfill. Because of this surcharge, the effective vertical stress at a depth Z from the top of the backfill is Q plus gamma into Z. Then the active earth pressure at this location is Ka into Q plus gamma Z. At the top, Z is equal to 0, so the active earth pressure is Ka into Q. At the bottom, Z is equal to 0, so the active earth pressure is Ka into Q plus Ka into gamma into H. So this is the active earth pressure distribution behind the retaining wall when the surcharge is acting on the top of the backfill. Then in the Rankine's active earth pressure theory, we have the next discussion. Please follow this next concept carefully. In all the previous Rankine's active earth pressure discussions, we consider the backfill as a horizontal surface behind the retaining wall. In all the previous Rankine's active earth pressure discussions, we consider this backfill behind the retaining wall is a horizontal plane surface, but sometimes behind the retaining wall, the backfill top surface is a inclined plane surface. So please understand this carefully. So far, we discuss number of conditions in the Rankine's active earth pressure theory. In all those previous conditions, this backfill top is a horizontal plane surface, but sometimes the backfill top surface is a inclined plane surface. If the backfill is a inclined plane surface, the top of the backfill is a inclined plane surface. What about the active earth pressure theory? Rankine's active earth pressure theory. So we are going to discuss the next condition in the Rankine's active earth pressure theory, that is the top of the backfill is a inclined plane surface. So check that condition in the Rankine's active earth pressure theory. So please everyone go through that heading in the PPT. Active earth pressure of dry or moist oceanless soil backfill with inclined surcharge. Inclined means the top of the backfill, top surface of the backfill is a inclined surface. So we are going to discuss how to calculate the active earth pressures behind the retaining wall if the backfill top surface is a inclined plane surface. This is the diagram. Dear students, please everyone observe this diagram on the PPTs. On the PPT, check this diagram in your cell phones. Please give me the response. Can you see this on the cell phones? Is it visible on the cell phones? Yes. Please give me the response.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma, thank you. Thank you. Please unmute them. Please mute the mics. Now everyone, please focus on that diagram, especially the backfill. So far, we discussed a number of conditions in the Rankine's active earth pressure theory. When the backfill is dry backfill, uniform soil, dry backfill, non-uniform soil, different locations of water table, and also the surcharge condition. In all those conditions, the backfill top surface is a horizontal top surface. The top of the backfill is a horizontal plane surface, but sometimes the backfill top surface is a inclined plane surface, like sloped soil. So like this, the backfill surface, top surface is a sloping soil, that is called the inclined plane surface of the backfill. If the backfill top surface behind the retaining wall is a inclined plane surface, what is the equation for the active earth pressure on the retaining wall? Because of this sloped or the inclined top surface of the backfill. So please everyone check the diagram, understand what is the difference between the previous conditions and this present condition. So in this condition, the backfill is a sloped surface, not the horizontal surface. The backfill is a sloped surface with horizontal. That sloped backfill is making the angle I. With horizontal, the sloped surface of the backfill is making the angle I. H is the height of the retaining wall. We consider this backfill is a oceanless backfill in the dry condition or the moist condition. we are going to discuss how to calculate the active earth pressure PA on the retaining wall by using the Rankins active earth pressure theory. Now coming to this discussion, to find out the active earth pressure for this sloped backfill surface, to find out the equation for the active earth pressure, first we consider the soil element in the backfill. This is the soil element. At a depth z from the top of the backfill, we consider the soil element. Check the soil element. The vertical sides of the soil element, these two sides are the vertical sides, whereas the top of the soil element, is a inclined surface. So check the soil element we consider in this condition, that is when the backfill top surface is a inclined surface. We are going to discuss the derivation of active earth pressure acting on the retaining wall, Rankins active earth pressure acting on the retaining wall when this backfill top surface is a inclined surface. So we consider the soil element at a depth z from the top of the backfill. Check that soil element. The soil element top surfaces are the inclined surfaces. The top surface of the soil element is parallel to the top surface of the backfill. Backfill is a inclined surface, so the element top surface is also inclined surface, the top as well as bottom, whereas the other sides of this element are the vertical sides. So this is the element we consider in the backfill to discuss the equation of active earth pressure acting on the retaining wall. Then this soil element subjected to the vertical stress because there is a weight of the backfill above the soil element. This is that weight of the backfill. Because of this weight of the backfill, the vertical stress is acting on the soil element. First understand what is this vertical stress acting on the soil element. First find out the area of this soil element. First find out the area of this soil prism. This is that soil prism acting on the above the soil element. First find out the area of this soil prism. The height of this soil prism is z. Check that carefully. The height of the soil prism is z. Then the inclined width of that soil prism is b, small b, inclined width. So I am explaining you the equation for this vertical stress acting on the soil element. First find out the area of this soil weight. Area of this soil prism weight above this element. This is the soil prism above the element. So find out the area of this soil prism above the soil element. The height of this soil prism is z. The inclined width of the soil prism is b. We know that this inclined width with horizontal making the angle I. With horizontal, the inclined width making the angle I. So the horizontal width is b cos I. The inclined width small b with horizontal, because this inclined width is parallel to the top of the soil slope. With horizontal, this inclined width b making the angle I. So the horizontal width is b cos I. So in this soil prism, the height is z. The horizontal width is b cos I. So the area of this soil prism, area is z into b cos I. Z is the vertical height, b cos I is the horizontal width. So the area of the soil prism above the soil element is z into b cos I. Take the unit thickness of the soil prism. In the perpendicular direction, take the thickness of the soil prism as unit thickness. So the volume of this soil prism, V, volume of the soil prism is height z into horizontal width b cos I into thickness 1. That is the volume. Consider the unit weight of this soil in the soil prism as gamma. Gamma is the bulk unit weight of the soil in the soil prism. So the weight W of this soil prism, the weight W of the soil prism above this element is equal to gamma into volume of the soil prism. What is the volume of the soil prism? Z into B cos I into 1. So the weight of the soil prism above the soil element W is equal to gamma into Z into B cos I into 1. Then the vertical stress on this soil element sigma V is equal to weight W divided by area of this soil element. This is the width B of the soil element into unit thickness. B into 1 is the area of this soil element on which the weight W is acting. So the vertical stress acting on this soil element sigma V is equal to W, that is the weight divided by B into 1. What is that weight? Gamma into Z into B cos I into 1 divided by B into 1. So you will get this vertical stress acting on the soil element at a depth Z from the top of the inclined surface backfill is given by sigma Z is equal to, this is that value. So in this inclined backfill surface, the vertical stress sigma V at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, sigma Z is equal to gamma Z into cos I. Whereas when the backfill is horizontal surface, the vertical stress sigma V is equal to gamma into Z. But in the inclined backfill surface at a depth Z from the top of the backfill, the vertical stress sigma V is equal to gamma into Z cos I. Dear students, if anybody is having doubt about the derivation of this sigma V in this inclined backfill surface, you please discuss with me. Any doubts about the derivation of that sigma Z for this condition, the inclined surface of the backfill? I explained the derivation of sigma V. Here that sigma V is equal to gamma Z into cos I. Whereas when the backfill surface is horizontal, sigma V is equal to only gamma into Z. But in this condition, inclined backfill surface, the vertical stress sigma V is equal to gamma into Z cos I. If anybody is having doubt in this derivation of sigma V, you please discuss with me. Anybody is having doubt about the derivation of sigma V, gamma into Z cos I? Any doubt, students, in the derivation of that sigma Z for this condition? Any doubts? Please give me the response. Any doubts in the derivation of the sigma Z for this inclined backfill surface? Is it clear or anybody is having doubt? Please give me the response. Is it clear to all, or if anybody is having doubt, you please discuss with me. Any doubt, students? Is my voice audible to you? Okay, thank you. Now coming to the diagram, we consider the inclined backfill surface. The backfill behind the retaining wall is the inclined surface, not the horizontal, and we discuss the vertical stress acting on the soil element sigma V due to this inclined surface backfill. We got that equation of sigma V is equal to gamma into Z cos I. Now coming to the other stress acting on the element, that is the sigma X stress. The stress sigma X is also acting on the element. So check that sigma X stress. It is the stress, next second stress acting on the soil element. Look at the two stresses sigma V and sigma X acting on this soil element when the backfill is inclined surface. So please everyone follow this condition carefully. We consider the backfill as a inclined surface, making an angle I with horizontal. To determine the active earth pressure, Rankins active earth pressure for this inclined surface of the backfill, first we consider the soil element in the backfill at a depth z from the top of the backfill. That soil element is having the vertical sides followed by the inclined top surface and bottom surface, not the horizontal, because the surface of the backfill is inclined surface. The element top surface is also inclined surface. Similarly, the bottom of the element is also inclined surface. The surface, these inclined surface of the element are parallel to the top of the backfill. Then the vertical stress acting on the soil element is sigma V, gamma z into cos I, followed by the another stress is sigma x acting on the element. Check this sigma V vertical stress. The vertical stress sigma V is not perpendicular to the top of the element. To this top surface of the element, the vertical stress sigma V is not perpendicular. Similarly, the stress sigma x is not perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element. Dear students, please check those two stresses carefully. The vertical stress sigma V is not perpendicular to the inclined surface of the soil element, both at the top and also at the bottom. The vertical stress sigma V is not perpendicular to the inclined surface of the backfill, the element. Similarly, the other stress sigma x is not perpendicular to the vertical surface of the backfill, the element, both on the two sides. The sigma x stress is not perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element. This sigma v stress is parallel to the vertical sides of the element. The sigma v stress is parallel to the vertical sides of the element. The sigma x stress is parallel to the top and bottom surface of the element. Check this sigma x stress direction. The stress sigma x is parallel to the top of the element and also bottom of the element, whereas the vertical stress sigma v is parallel to the two vertical sides of the element. We call these two stresses as the conjugate stresses. In theory of elasticity, if the one stress acting on the body, please everyone understand this conjugate stress concept. When the elastic body is subjected to two stresses, if the first stress acting on the elastic body is parallel to two sides of the elastic body, if the second stress acting on the elastic body is parallel to the remaining two sides of the elastic body, these two stresses are called conjugate stresses. So in this condition, the stress sigma V is not perpendicular to the top of the element and also bottom of the element. The vertical stress sigma V is not perpendicular to the top surface of the element and also the bottom surface of the element, but the vertical stress sigma V is parallel to the other two sides of the element. These two are the other two sides of the element. So with those two sides of the element, the vertical stress sigma V is parallel, followed by the stress sigma x is not perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element. The stress sigma x is not perpendicular to the two sides of the element, but this vertical stress sigma x is parallel to the top of the element and bottom of the element. So we call these two stresses as the conjugate stresses. Since sigma v is not perpendicular to the top surface of the element and sigma x is not perpendicular to the vertical side of the element, this sigma v, sigma x are not the principal stresses. Sigma x and sigma v are not the principal stresses. Sigma x and sigma v are the conjugate stresses only. because sigma v is not perpendicular to the top surface of the element and also the bottom surface of the element, but it is parallel to the vertical sides of the element. Similarly, sigma x stress is not perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element, but sigma x stress is parallel to the top surface of the element and bottom surface of the element. So sigma v, sigma x are not the principal stresses, they are called as the conjugate stresses. Now, in order to prepare the equation of active earth pressure for this inclined surface of the backfill, consider this soil element subjected to the horizontal principal stress sigma 3 in this direction. Check this direction. This direction is perpendicular to the vertical side of the element. So along this direction, let this element subjected to the principal stress sigma 3. Similarly, along this another direction, this direction is perpendicular to the bottom of the element, and also here at the top of the element also consider the direction perpendicular to the top of the element. Along the perpendicular direction, let this side element subjected to the principal stress sigma 1. Just assume that the element here is subjected to two principal stresses. One is in the horizontal direction perpendicular to the vertical side of the element. Next one is in the inclined direction perpendicular to the bottom and top of the element. Always the principal stresses are the normal stresses. The principal stresses are perpendicular to the surface of acting. Whereas here sigma v is not the principal stress, because sigma v is not perpendicular to the top surface and bottom surface of the element. Sigma x is also not the principal stress because it is not perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element. Sigma v, sigma x are called the conjugate stresses. So in this inclined backfill surface, let sigma 1 is the principal stress acting on the soil element perpendicular to the top of the element and also bottom of the element. Similarly, sigma 3 is the principal stress, horizontal principal stress acting on the element perpendicular to the vertical sides of the element. With these directions, with this principal stress directions, sigma v makes an angle I and also sigma x makes an angle I. Because with horizontal, the stress sigma x is parallel to the inclined surface of the backfill. The stress sigma x acting on the element parallel to inclined surface of the backfill. So with horizontal, the stress sigma x making an angle I. Similarly, with this perpendicular direction, the stress sigma v makes an angle I. Now, to prepare the equation for the active earth pressure for this condition, inclined backfill, first prepare the Morse stress circle by using sigma 1 principal stress and sigma 3 principal stress of this backfill. To prepare the equation for the active earth pressure for the inclined surface of the backfill, prepare the Morse stress circle by considering the principal stress sigma 1 acting on the element and also the principal stress sigma 3 acting on the element. So we are preparing that Morse stress circle. Already in the Rankins active earth pressure theory, we discussed that Morse stress circle. This is that Morse stress circle. So we discussed this Morse stress circle in the Rankins active earth pressure theory. This is the failure surface for the cohesionless soil. We know that in the cohesionless soil, the failure surface makes an angle phi with x-axis. On the x-axis, we consider the normal stress acting on the soil element. On the y-axis, we consider the shear stress. The soil element subjected to the principal normal stresses sigma 1, sigma 3. So in this diagram, OA indicates the principal stress sigma 3. OB indicates the principal stress sigma 1 acting on the soil element. So when the backfill is an inclined surface, consider the soil element at a depth z from the top of the backfill subjected to two principal stresses sigma 1, sigma 3. Sigma 1 is perpendicular to the top and bottom of the soil element. Sigma 3 perpendicular to the sides of the soil element. horizontal. So by considering sigma 1, sigma 3 principal stresses, prepare the Morse stress circle. This is that Morse stress circle. When the Morse stress circle touching this failure envelope, the backfill is in failure condition. We know that we are in the active movement of the retaining wall. So when the inclined backfill surface is in active condition, when that backfill is in failure situation in the active condition, the Morse stress circle touches the failure envelope at point D. This is the Morse stress circle at the active failure condition of the inclined surface of the backfill. OA is equal to sigma 3 on the soil element, OB is equal to sigma 1 on the soil element, C is the center of the Morse stress circle. Dear students, we know that in this condition, the backfill is making an angle I with the horizontal inclined surface of the backfill. The soil element, check that soil element top and bottom surfaces, the soil element top and bottom surfaces with horizontal making the angle I. The top and bottom surface of the soil element with horizontal making the angle I. In that Morse stress circle, just now we discussed the Morse stress circle for this condition. In that Morse stress circle, OA is sigma 3, OB is sigma 1. In that Morse stress circle, we can also observe the vertical stress sigma V acting on the side element, the other sigma X stress acting on the side element. These two stresses are also observed in that Morse stress circle. In order to observe these two stresses sigma V, sigma X in this Morse stress circle passing through horizon O. Draw a straight line passing through horizon O. This is that straight line making an angle I with horizontal. This I angle indicates the angle of top and bottom surface of the side element. We know that the top and bottom surface of the side element with horizontal making the angle I. So from that horizon O in that Morse stress circle, draw this straight line OE such that the straight line OE making the angle I with horizontal. This straight line OE will touches the Morse stress circle at point F and also at point E. Draw a straight line passing through horizon O making an angle I with sigma axis or x axis. We know that the failure envelope with x axis making the angle phi, the angle of shearing resistance of the soil. To find out the vertical stress sigma V and also the stress sigma X on that side element in the backfill at a depth Z, draw the straight line in the Morse stress circle making an angle I with x axis. This is the straight line passing through horizon O making an angle I with x axis. That straight line will touches the Morse stress circle at a point F and also at a point E. Then the length OE, the length OF in this Morse stress circle indicates the stress sigma X acting on the side element. The length OE in the Morse stress circle indicates the other stress sigma V acting on the side element. So in this diagram, Morse stress circle diagram, OA is the principal stress sigma 3 acting on the soil element. OB, the principal stress sigma 1 acting on the soil element. The Morse stress circle touching the failure envelope. The failure envelope making an angle phi with x-axis. Then draw the another straight line passing through horizon O making an angle I with x-axis. That is this straight line, because in that element, the top and bottom of the element with horizontal making the angle I. Draw the another straight line passing through horizon O making an angle I with horizontal or x-axis. Let this straight line touches this Morse stress circle at point F and point E. Then OF is equal to sigma X acting on the element. OE is equal to sigma V acting on the element. This is the property of the Morse stress circle. In this Morse stress circle, if I draw a straight line making some angle with the x-axis, then that straight line touches the Morse stress circle at 2 points. Then from this horizon, OF indicates the horizontal stress, that is the stress on that plane making an angle I. Then the other OE indicates the other stress acting on that plane, making an angle I with the horizontal. That is the property of the Morse stress circle. Now, in the active condition, we know that in the active condition, the retaining wall is moving away from the backfill. When the retaining wall is moving away from the backfill, in this inclined surface of the backfill, when the retaining wall in the active condition moving away from the backfill, the stress sigma x gradually decreases. At one stage, the sigma x reaches the minimum value. At one stage, the stress sigma x reaches the minimum value, that is called the active earth pressure, PA, when the backfill is in inclined surface condition. So in the Morse stress circle, in this diagram, at a minimum active earth pressure, the Morse stress circle touches the failure envelope because the backfill is in failure condition at the minimum marginal earth pressure, that is active earth pressure. Once this Morse stress circle touches the failure envelope, the length OF indicates the minimum value of the sigma x, that is the active earth pressure acting in the backfill when the backfill is in inclined surface. Then this OE indicates the vertical stress on that backfill. Just now we prepare the equation of OE. OE sigma V. Sigma V is equal to gamma into Z cos I. Now by using this Morse stress circle, we can prepare the equation for this OF. OF indicates the active earth pressure when the backfill is having the inclined surface. To prepare that equation for that active earth pressure, check this Morse stress circle. OA is sigma 3. OB is sigma 1. So this diameter AB. The diameter AB is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3. Diameter AB, sigma 1 minus sigma 3. And this radius AC, half of the diameter. The radius AC is equal to radius CB, that is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2, half of the diameter. The diameter of this Morse stress circle is AB, that is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3. So the radius of this Morse stress circle is AC or CB, that is sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. So this length OC. The length OC is equal to OA plus AC. What is OA? Sigma 3. What is AC? Sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. So this length OC is equal to OA plus AC. Sigma 3 plus sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. So this length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So coming to the calculation in this Morse stress circle, we are going to prepare the equation for this active earth pressure OF in the inclined surface of the backfill. So first we calculate this length OC in the diagram. OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. Take this right angle triangle OCD. Take the right angle triangle OCD. In this right angle triangle OCD, the length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. The length CD is the radius. The length CD is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. Check that right angle triangle OCD. In that OCD right angle triangle, cos phi is equal to. In that OCD right angle triangle, take sin phi please. Sin phi is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. What is that opposite side? Sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. That is CD. So take this right angle triangle OCD. In that OCD right angle triangle, sin phi is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. Opposite side is CD. So sin phi is equal to CD divided by OC. But this length CD is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. The length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So in the right angle triangle OCD, check that first. Right angle triangle OCD, sin phi is equal to opposite side CD by hypotenuse OC, but the side CD is the radius sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. The side OC is sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So sin phi is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2 divided by sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. 2 will cancel, and from this equation you will get sigma 1 minus sigma 3 is equal to, from this equation, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 into sin phi. This is the condition equation we got from the Morse stress circle. Now coming to that Morse stress circle, our aim in that Morse stress circle is to find out the equation for this OF, the active earth pressure OF, when the backfill is inclined backfill. Now in this diagram, this OF is sigma x, OE is sigma v. Then from point C, center of the circle, from point C to that line EF, draw a perpendicular CZ. So check this diagram. To this line EF, from point C, center of the circle, draw a perpendicular, that is point C. According to property of circles, please listen everyone. According to property of circles, from the center of circle, if you draw the perpendicular to this line EF, point G is the midpoint of this line EF. This is according to property of circles. From the center of the circle, we draw the perpendicular to this line EF, that is point Z. CZ is perpendicular to the length, the side EF. According to property of circles, this G is the midpoint of the line EF. So here the length FG is equal to the length EZ, because G is the midpoint. The length FG is equal to the length EZ. So check this diagram carefully. Here to this line EF, from point C, we draw the perpendicular, that is point Z. The point G is the midpoint of this line EF, according to the property of circle. So from that property of circles, the length EZ is equal to the length GF. Now take this right angle triangle OCZ, the right angle triangle OCZ. In this OCZ right angle triangle with respect to I, cos I is equal to, please follow this carefully, cos I is equal to, adjacent side is OG, adjacent side is OG, divided by hypotenuse is OC. So in that right angle triangle OCZ, adjacent side is OG, hypotenuse is OC. So cos I is equal to OG by OC. But you know this length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So cos I in the right angle triangle OCZ, cos I is equal to OG divided by OC. So the length OG is equal to OC into cos I. But OC length is sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So the length OG is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I. Similarly, in the right angle triangle OCZ, sin I is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. What is opposite side? CZ. Hypotenuse is OC. So this length CZ is equal to, length CZ is equal to OC into sin I. OC is sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So this length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin I. So we consider the right angle triangle OCZ in the Morse circle. So in the right angle triangle OCZ, so here the right angle triangle OCZ, in the right angle triangle OCZ, cos I is equal to, adjacent side is OG divided by hypotenuse is OC. So OG is equal to OC cos I, but the length OC is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2. So OG is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I. Then sin I is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. Opposite side is CZ divided by hypotenuse is OC. So CZ is equal to OC sin I, sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin I. And we know that in that circle, from point C, we draw the perpendicular to the line EF, that is point Z. According to property of circles, point G is the midpoint of line EF. So the length FG is equal to length GE. Now coming to the triangle OCZ. So check this diagram. Coming to this triangle, since here the angle is 90 degrees, here this angle is 90 degrees. In this triangle, apply the Pythagoras theorem in this triangle. So here from that Pythagoras theorem, check that Pythagoras theorem in the triangle OCZ. I apply the Pythagoras theorem in that triangle OCZ. Just a minute, please. Coming to the diagram first. So here first take this in the circle. Take this triangle, please. Take the triangle CFG, right angle triangle in the diagram. CFG right angle triangle. So check that right angle triangle here. We have the right angle triangle CFG because it is the angle is 90 degrees. So check that right angle triangle CFG. In the right angle triangle CFG, CF is the hypotenuse because this is the right angle triangle. CF is the hypotenuse. So CF square in the right angle triangle CFG. CF square is equal to CG square plus GF square. So apply the Pythagoras theorem in the right angle triangle CFG right angle triangle. So you will get CF square from the right angle triangle. CF square is equal to CG square plus FG square. So from that FG, the length FG from the right angle triangle CFG. So please take the right angle triangle CFG in that Morse circle. In that CFG right angle triangle, CF is the hypotenuse. So CF square is equal to CG square plus FG square. So FG, the length FG is equal to square root of CF square minus CG square. So FG is equal to EG. So FG is equal to EG is equal to root of CF square minus CG square. We know that CF is the radius of the Morse circle, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. And CG, we know CG is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin I. Substitute on the right hand side, you will get the length CG or length EG, both are same, is equal to root of CF square minus EG square. CF is the radius of the Morse circle, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2 whole square minus CG is the sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin I whole square. We know that from equation 2, just we prepare that equation 2. From equation 2, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 into sin phi. Substitute this equation 2 in equation 3 because we have sigma 1 minus sigma 3 by 2. Substitute that equation 2 in equation 3. This first term becomes as sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin phi whole square. So simplify this right hand side in the equation 3. So the length FG is equal to length EG is equal to root of sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin phi whole square minus sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into sin I whole square. Take the sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 common in both terms. In the two terms, take the sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 whole square common outside the square root. So you will get the length FG, length EG is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into square root of sin square phi minus sin square I. Now coming to that calculation of the OF and OE in that Morse circle. We know that in the Morse circle, OE is the vertical stress sigma V on the soil element. So first calculate that sigma V on that soil element acting on the soil element when the backfill is inclined surface of the backfill. So sigma V is equal to, from the previous diagram, OE is the representation of sigma V in the Morse circle, that you can write that length OE is equal to OZ plus GE. Sigma V is the length OE and that can be written as OZ plus GE. You know that this OZ, just in the previous calculation, we calculated that length OZ. OZ is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I. And just now we calculated this length GE. GE is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into square root of sin square phi minus sin square I. So take on the right side sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 common. So this equation becomes as the vertical stress sigma V is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I plus square root of, write this is sin square phi as 1 minus cos square phi. Write this sin square I as 1 minus cos square I. Then you can simplify this second term in the right hand side. 1 minus cos square phi minus of 1 minus cos square I. This equation simplifies as cos square I minus cos square phi. So the vertical stress on the element sigma V is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I plus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. Similarly, in the Morse circle, the length OF is the sigma x stress. The stress sigma x acting on the soil element parallel to the inclined surface of the backfill. Sigma x is equal to length OF. That OF is equal to OZ minus FZ. From the Morse circle diagram, the length OF is equal to OZ minus FZ. We know that length OZ is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I minus of, we know that length FG is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into square root of sin square phi minus sin square I. So in the right hand side, take that sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 common. So the length OF that is equal to sigma F, sigma X is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I minus square root of sin square phi minus sin square I. Write this sin square phi as 1 minus cos square phi. Write this sin square I as 1 minus cos square I. This equation becomes as sigma x is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. So in this inclined surface of the backfill, the stress sigma x acting on the side element parallel to the surface of the backfill, inclined surface of the backfill, sigma x is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. In the active condition, when the retaining wall is moving away from the backfill, in the active condition, the stress sigma x gradually decreases, and at the failure stage, the stress sigma x becomes minimum. That is called the horizontal active earth pressure acting on the inclined surface of the backfill. So once this sigma x in the active condition becomes minimum, that can be taken as the active earth pressure acting on the backfill in the inclined surface of the backfill. So this sigma x is equal to the active earth pressure PA, that is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 into cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. In the equation 4, we got the equation for sigma V, vertical stress on the element. In the equation 5, we got the active earth pressure acting on the side element. So divide the equation 5 with equation 4. So 5 by 4 gives us A divided by sigma V. Divide that equation 5 with equation 4. So here the equation 5, divide that equation 5 with equation 4, you will get PA by sigma V is equal to, what is that PA, horizontal earth pressure acting on the backfill. What is that PA, horizontal active earth pressure acting on the backfill. What is sigma V, vertical stress acting on the backfill. Equation 5 gives PA value. Equation 4 gives sigma V value. So divide that PA with sigma V. So PA by sigma V on the left hand side is equal to, on the right hand side, sigma 1 plus sigma 3 by 2 will cancel. So on the right hand side, numerator cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi divided by cos I plus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. You know that in the lateral earth pressure theories, the ratio between the horizontal stress to vertical stress is called the coefficient of earth pressure. So please remember that ratio sigma V, PA divided by sigma V is called the coefficient of the earth pressure. Since we are in the active earth pressure conditions, PA by sigma V is called the coefficient of active earth pressure when the surface of the backfill is inclined surface. So PA by sigma V is equal to Ka, that is equal to cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi by cos I plus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. So here, when the inclined surface of the backfill condition, this is Ka. Ka is equal to Pa divided by sigma V. But Pa divided by sigma V is this value in that equation 6. So in the inclined surface of the backfill, this is the equation of the coefficient of active earth pressure. So coming to the discussion, from this discussion, Pa by sigma V is this ratio, and Pa is equal to, bring the sigma V to the right side. This is the PA is equal to sigma V into this value. Already we calculated this sigma V, vertical stress on the element, gamma z into cos I. Bring this gamma z into gamma into z to the left hand side. You can write this right hand side as Ka into gamma z. Ka is this value. Ka, coefficient of active earth pressure in the inclined surface of the backfill. Ka is equal to cos I into cos I minus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi by cos I plus square root of cos square I minus cos square phi. So in that inclined surface of the backfill, this is the equation for the active earth pressure. Ka into gamma z. Ka is the coefficient of active earth pressure, and in the inclined surface of the backfill, this is the equation of Ka. From this equation, we can understand that at the top of the backfill, Z is equal to 0. So Pa is equal to 0. At the bottom of the retaining wall, Z is equal to H. So Pa is equal to Ka into gamma into H. This is the distribution diagram. So in the inclined surface of the backfill, at the top of the backfill, the active earth pressure is 0. At the bottom of the retaining wall, the active earth pressure is Ka into gamma H plus, but In this condition, this bottom active earth pressure distribution diagram is parallel to inclined surface. It is not horizontal, it is parallel to the inclined surface, having a value of Ka into gamma into H. Find out the area of this distribution diagram. That gives the total active earth pressure Pa, earth pressure force. That Pa is also acting, making an angle I with horizontal. So this is the Rankins active earth pressure theory when the backfill is a inclined surface of the backfill. Okay, students, with this I am going to stop the today's class. If you have doubts in this inclined surface of the backfill, you please discuss with me.